morning, everyone. My name is Amanda Castron. I'm the CRO of eProd Solutions, and I would like to welcome you all today for today's webinar, which basically is about the partnership between eProd Solutions and AgroCares. I'm here together with my colleagues from the AgroCares team. That is Mukami, Gitau, and there's Anne. Later, there's somebody else joining as well called Theo, who's an AgroCares partner in Uganda. And I'm here with my colleague Jacqueline that you will meet in the background in case you have any issues. So today's webinar is a short introduction of the team, which I just did. And then when each of us present, we will do a short round of introduction. Then I will take over and present eProd and a little bit how we work together with the AgroCares team. Then Mukami from AgroCares will take over, explain you a little bit more about AgroCares and the solution they offer. We will show then a small movie, a live demo of how the two systems integrate. Theo then at the end will talk about the use case and how he experienced it. And then we will open up for question and answers. What you could do in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box. So then we can address all your questions at the end of this webinar. Great, so let me start. As I mentioned, my name is Amit van Kasteren. I'm the CRO of eProd Solutions. What we do as eProd is we offer a supply chain management ERP for the agriculture sector. So we work with commodity traders, with exporters, food processors, farmer cooperatives, anybody that works with hundreds of thousands of farmers and needs a tool to manage their daily operations. Our solution is relatively affordable. It's a solution that is readily built, that we can just integrate, yet tailor it based to the requirements of our clients. And it's a platform that can easily integrate with third-party platforms. So that could be Bluetooth scales and Bluetooth printers, that can be quality measurement devices, SMS, weather forecast, automated production advice. But, and this is why we're here, also with systems like the one that AgroCares offers. What is important about the eProd application is that it works completely offline. So it's really tailored for the African or sub-Saharan market and rural areas. So you can manage all the different functionalities in the system offline. And then there's, of course, a lot of data that is not only relevant for you as our clients, but also for your farmers and also other stakeholders. Now, what is it that we're offering? Our system is a desktop application combined with a mobile application for field data management. And it's really centered around the agribusiness. So our system is sector agnostic. We can integrate with lots of different value chains, from grains to tree crops like avocado or macadamia or coffee, tea, poultry, honey. It doesn't matter. It's like more the approach of how our clients work with the farmers. So our clients are then able through our system to register the farmers, to register the fields, to offer them market access, training information, access to additional information like weather and pest information or nutrient advice through the AgroCares app. It helps them also to manage all the financial transactions. So they can offer input finance packages, they can link farmers to financial institutions, they can manage farmer payments based on quality, make corrections of the price. They could integrate possibly with insurance products. And all because then they need to supply the market. So markets are more and more demanding a traceable and transparent product. So there's the EUDR coming up, transparency in terms of the CSDDD, the sustainability laws that are coming more and more into law or into force. And they simply want to be able to trust what you as a producer are producing. And a lot of our clients and simply need to not only manage the stakeholders and report to them and share data and information, but also internally they would like to have a strong accountable system that helps them to build a strong and sustainable supply chain. Now, eProd as a platform helps you to register farmers and create comprehensive farmer profiles, not only with demographic information of the farmers, but also planting information, training programs. You can integrate surveys for certification and compliance, manage payments, loans, their repayments, and much more. So you create a very comprehensive picture of your farmers. The platform is very versatile, so you can integrate multiple crops. I have put here now some of them, like you could have peas or beans and maize and grains and a lot of different ones. In the system, you assign then specific fields to a farmer. Farmers are normally organized either in farmer groups or alternatively into villages or irrigation schemes, some sort of a logical cluster that makes sense for our clients. Farmer groups then can form part of a bigger cooperative or production area and still be assigned to a larger level, higher level. It could be a union, for example. We focus and emphasize quality and traceability because this is becoming more and more relevant for all of our clients. So that starts with the inputs and the services that you offer to the farmers, to managing fields and applications, to the final product, have an end-to-end traceability solution, and then manage in-house processing and the whole inventory process to the final product. So that starts with the farmer profiling, which you can see in the picture on the right, to then the actual field registration, and I come to that later in more detail. To then the third slide is here the buying page in the system where you can integrate, and this is what I just want to show, an end-to-end traceability solution. So the traceability code that you can see here is actually the field from which the farmers harvest. You can then apply a crate number, a bag number, unique identifier for the product itself, and then process payment through the system. So we recognize that a lot of our clients are in rural areas. We also recognize that cash payment is still a topic in some areas, depending on the countries where you are. But we can also as well integrate with bank payments, with mobile money payments, and have APIs where you can push payments through the system directly into the farmer account. Payments can be adjusted based on the quality delivered. You can pay daily, weekly, monthly, or per season, depending on how that works for you. Very strong is also a lot of our clients, through managing the quality and the product itself that they want to buy, they offer input packages and service packages to the farmers against credit, free of charge, or against cash payments. So this is what you can do. You can, so if you want to do that through a credit finance, you can, as a client, as a system user, either manage this financing package yourself, or you could integrate a financial institution that helps you to finance that. So what you can then, as a company, offer to your farmers is, for example, a seed and as an input package based on the results of the AgroCares nutrients and soil testing information. So you have a nice combined package that you provide to the farmers. You support them during the planting season. And once the farmers deliver you with the product, you can deduct the payments from the farmer delivery and push the payment out to the farmer themselves. Now, what can you do with the eProd application? So as a system user, you can schedule your field activities, you can manage field inspections, integrate baseline surveys. So if you want to understand what is the quality of the soil and how is it changing over the years, manage certifications from organic to global gap, etc. So we can support you there with importing the standards. You can schedule training and implement training programs, manage field trials, demonstration farms, organize field days around that, integrate with soil testing, and share an automated production advice to the farmers. In addition to weather forecast, just alerting the farmers how the weather is going to be before they start applying the fertilizers or before they start harvesting, and just also really share more tailored agronomic advice. So if you see there's a pest outbreak in one specific production area, you can really, through the system, through the eProd platform, dive into the bigger area and push an SMS out to the farmers with very specific advice for the area where they are. So it's all about now the integration with AgroCares. I want to dive into that a little bit more. So within the eProd platform, you see here now on the left a farmer field profile. So the farm or the field that the farmer has planted. So in this case, our farmer Dan, he planted rubber. Each field has a unique field ID number. You can then also, that is system generated, you then can also add a name that the farmer gave to the specific field. So that could be plot A, B, C, D. And you get the acreage. You can get the GPS coordinates of the field or the polygon by just walking around the field, and then the system will calculate automatically the GPS coordinates and the size of the field. If you scroll down, you can get information about the original seed origin, how many seeds or seedlings you have planted, the current seed status, and the sign productivity rating. Now, this is a polygon, so you basically walk around the field, and then the system will show you the actual shape of the field and give you the exact field information. And then you can schedule follow-ups. The follow-ups can be an intake form for a farmer if you want to understand whether the farmer is suitable for growing your crop, because in the case of coffee, for example, the farmer might plant in a deforested area and you want to be under control and just basically rejecting the farmer from delivering to you. So you then discard this farmer or blacklisted farmer. So there are surveys that you can integrate into this field. Now from there, you can nicely cluster your farms and visualize the polygons in different areas. So this is how it could look like when you zoom in, and you can overlay with a lot of different maps and then zoom in and really get the actual field and the location and the shapefile of the farm. That will also help you to understand then bigger pictures on clustering of farmers, where to put your collection centers, but also understand the context of deforestation a little bit better. Now, when you now want to integrate and provide additional services to your farmers, you basically have in the eProd system as a platform a very comprehensive tool that allows you to have farmer information, feed information, inputs that the farmer has received, offer loans to the farmers for the soil sampling, for example, then buy back from the farmers, and much more. By having all this information, we can now, through our software, plug in a lot of different functionalities. So I mentioned the interoperability. You can enter weather forecast information, share SMS with the farmers, share automated production advice, and offer the services with the soil testing. So how that works is you register the data, then you take a soil sample, and this is now the eProd, the AgroCares application comes in. You look up that farmer in the AgroCares system and push data from there into the AgroCares platform, and then pull data out of their platform with regards to the results. And then those results you can then import into the eProd application, into the farmer field profile. So you will see at the bottom left the AgroCares report. So when the field extension officer goes now to the farmer and visits him, he can open the platform and the report and look into the recommendations and follow up with the farmer whether or not he has applied the right tools and the right fertilizer and followed their recommendations. What you can also do as an eProd user is push out SMS to the farmers. The challenge is that rural farmers often have no smartphones, but the feature phones. So through the application, you can nicely package now the results into an SMS and push it through to the farmers based on the information that you want to share. You can also add a PDF link, so basically the link to the PDF file, and then the farmer can, if the farmer has a smartphone, access the recommendations as well. So you can also now tailor the information that you want to share. You can just share an overall summary of what the farmer is supposed to apply when, at which planting moment. So an overall shopping list basically at the moment of planting, and then the farmer is prepared. And then at the moment of application, when the application is due, you can send a reminder out to the farmers that now, for example, it's time to apply urea and top dressing and CNN in certain quantities to the field, just to make sure that the crop gets the right nutrients. What is important also before you start using the system is if you share data based on the GDPR rules now, you need to have the consent of the farmers to be allowed to share data. So we can manage that through our system and integrate it. And I show you briefly how to do that. So if you go then to the farmer profile, you see here at the bottom in the red box, a consent box. So there you open then that you click there and you get a folder for you want to have the consent for sharing information with the AgroCares app. So you request the consent, and then the farmer can agree to sharing this consent by using, for example, a biometric ID and giving you permission to share that. And then it is granted, and only then we can actually now access the data and push it out or you to the AgroCares app. So thank you for your interest. I will be open for more questions. at a later stage. Please put them in the chat box if you have any. In the meantime, I would like to hand over to Mukami from AgroCares, who's going to explain you a little bit more how the scanner and the device works and explain you a bit more about AgroCares as well. Thank you. Over to you, Mukami.
Very good. Thank you very much, Almut. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to our session. And thank you, Almut, for highlighting how we are leveraging on each other's advantages or strengths from the platform. For AgroCares, we're quite happy to be able to tap into AgroCare, into eProd's platform, especially looking at features that are not currently present in our system, features like the USSD, sending the report to the farmer using the USSD, the polygon mapping. So those are really features that we are leveraging on and quite happy. So I'll take you through quickly through our solutions. I'm sure some of you have already interacted with AgroCares solutions. So here I'll share my screen so that we can start right away. I believe this is visible to everyone.
Yes, I can see it.
Super nice. Let me just get this guy a little bit out of the way. Very good. Yeah, so who are we? So basically what we are trying to do as AgroCares is see how we can leverage on technology to be able to bring nutrient information at field level. So we want, in my next slide, it actually shows how we are doing this, bringing, for lack of a better word, the lab to the field, to the farmer's field. So we've been in operation in Kenya for the last 11, 12 years now. We're present in 50 countries, and 16 of these countries are in Africa. So we're looking at Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, we're in Zambia, Rwanda, Burundi. We're also a little bit in the west, in Ghana, Ivory Coast, coming down a bit to the south, Namibia. So in 16 countries in total, offering our different solutions. Then a handheld scanner, as well as I'll take you later through our MIR, XRF, sensor-based lab. So we basically are looking at different ways of how we can be able to, again, as I mentioned, bring on the spot testing of nutrients in the fields, which is where it's really needed. And without, without wasting a lot of time managing the cycle time, giving the farmer advisory so that he has access, he knows what is happening in his field in terms of the nutrient composition, whether it's soil he's testing, or whether it's leaf he's testing, or even animal feed. So this has really helped us, disrupt that place, so to speak. So in less than 10 minutes, the farmer can already know what is happening in his field in terms of the nutrient composition of his soil. And this is really what our technology does, especially the handheld scanner. So when we go to the field, how does this work? So what we do is we have the handheld scanner here. We have this guy right here. And so we would take a sample using the conventional methods. And then once we test this, we take the soil sample, then we're able to test it, connect it to a mobile application. This one here that connects to the scanner through using Bluetooth. And once this is done, we're able now to look at the macro elements. We also have applications that can dive a little bit into the micro elements, also the calcium, magnesium, zinc, a little bit of boron, iron, etc. So once we test the soil, and this application is also able to help the farmer look at what recommendation, it gives a recommendation and helps the farmer see what his fertilization plan looks like. So then what fertilizer should he apply, whether organic or inorganic? In some instances, maybe he needs to lime. In some instances, it recommends that he does either animal or compost manure. So once he gets those recommendations and applies that in his field, how will he know if the crop actually uptook those nutrients that he applied in the soil? So what we do with the same hardware, if you look at this picture here, during different growth stages, we are able now to pick leaves say if it's a farmer who's doing coffee, then he can now be able to pick leaves from the plant and test again and really get to understand, did his feeding regime work? How is his crop doing? Is he having deficiencies in nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, whatever it is? So then he can take the same hardware, collect leaf samples in the field, and monitor nutrients now to see if he needs to, probably take up further intervention measures, maybe do some foliar, or what does he need to do? So this sort of gives the farmer insights after the plant has left the ground and now it's up. Then he's still able to monitor with the same scanner by testing the leaves, and then he can he can be able to come up with steps to remedy any nutrient deficiency, even at growth stage. So it's also a monitoring tool for the farmer. Now, our technology, we have two types of technology. So I will start with the one that is used in the field. This is the handheld scanner right here. You can see it there using NIR. So this is the one that in less than 10 minutes, you should be able to know what is happening in your soil. And ideally, the scanner should be with the advisor. So could be an extension officer, a field officer. He's walking up to the farmer's field, maybe as he's giving other advisory, maybe on good agricultural practices and other things. He can also quickly take a sample and advise the farmer on the nutrient composition in his farm, his soil fertility status, and therefore what initiatives he needs to take so that he can be able to experience better quality of crop and probably better production if he applies the right nutrients. So this is our field tool. And then on the right-hand side, we have our fully fledged lab. We call it the LIAB, lab in a box. It's a fusion, a combination of mid-infrared and X-ray spectroscopy. So how it works is we have the MIR, which is a predictive engine, and then we have the X-ray, which measures at atomic level. It gives precise measurements. So what we do is, for us in the lab to be able to have higher levels of accuracy, we combine the two. So we have a predictive engine, which is the MIR, and then we have a precise measurement, which is the XRF. So we combine this, and this lab in a box, or the LIAB, can actually be either in a lab setup in the office somewhere, or it could also be mobile. Like you can see a truck here. So you can mount it at the back of a truck, and you're able to move around with it in the villages, in the wards, and you're able to actually give farmers a full analysis. And this is able to do now up to about 80 to 90 parameters. So it does both the macro and micro elements. And this is now our lab in a box. So we have different components here. I will not take you through too much, but we have grinders, we have the dryers, we have the mid-infrared, which is this guy here. And then on the other side, we have the XRF. So we combine the two, and we are able to give you results. It takes about an hour or so to get a result. Where it takes most time is the processing of the samples, because you have to process the samples. But once they get into these two measuring units, equipment, it takes about 10 seconds or so, and the results are out. For the scanner, no processing of samples is required, and this can test fresh samples in the field, but we give it a window of 48 hours because it assumes that the agronomist or the officer is out there in the field collecting fresh samples. And this basically will just give you the macro elements. So your pH, NPK, soil organic carbon, cation exchange capacity, your soil and moisture, your clay and moisture, soil moisture content. So we go to the next one. So this is our setup, basically. Interestingly, most people do not know an interesting fact, and this is that we use the scanner and the mid-infrared and the X-ray, the lab in a box. We use wet chem protocols to reference our sensor technology. So the idea is to make the correlation coefficient and to make the results as close as possible to wet chem results. So we have our wet chem lab that is stationed in Wageningen in the Netherlands. We call it the Golden Standard Lab because that's what we use as a standard to reference sensor technology. And so the way it basically works is we have the NIR, we have the XRF and the mid-infrared, and we also have the wet chem lab that we use, especially when we're calibrating new countries. So we combine these together with applications and we are able to build our database using the three different methods, NIR, XRF, and also wet chem. So in our product portfolio, as I mentioned, we also test leaf, as I mentioned, and in leaf, these are the parameters that we look at. So once the crop leaves the soil, now we want to monitor during different growth stages. So we already have a couple of crops that are already in our database: coffees, there, canola, maize, wheat, and we're still improving the database. And these are the parameters that we are testing in our leaf. We also have a feed care solution, and these are the parameters that we test. So basically looking at raw materials, so we look at maize, we also look at maize germ, we look at rice bran, sorghum, etc. And also for the NDF, we also test NDF there. You can also see a bit of amino acids there. So the same scanner will be able to test your leaf tissue. It will also be able to test your livestock feed as well. And the same scanner will also be able to give you insights into your carbon stocks in the soil. So we have a carbon monitoring solution that basically uses somebody needs to mute. Thank you. Somebody needs to mute. Almut, you can check.
Already done.
Okay, thank you very much. So our carbon monitoring solution, you can also use it with the same scanner, especially for carbon stocks, for carbon sequestration projects where you're looking at monitoring the amount of stocks in carbon. You can use the scanner with a carbon monitoring application. And the way it works very simply is basically we leverage on satellite data, but we also do ground truthing using the scanner where we actually test the soil so that we establish a baseline, sort of a before, how much carbon is currently present in the soil, and then monitor through after engaging, of course, a few regenerative practices. Then after a period, we can monitor again and see how much carbon has been sequestered, and we have a carbon calculator already ingrained in the system. Then finally, we have our portal. So basically, this portal, all that happens within the application, the mobile application also has a back end, which is a web portal. And in the web portal, you can see dashboards. For instance, for soil, it can be able to tell you, like in Kenya, in Western Kenya, what is the level of nutrient composition, like pH, how much, what's the range of pH, for instance, in Western Kenya, nitrogen, phosphorus. So it's able to give you that kind of data. And you can also use it as a reporting tool. You can also extract data from there. You can import PDFs files. You can also import Excel files. And really, it gives you insights. You can be able to visualize your data, whether it's carbon or leaf or soil. You can be able now to go in depth and be able to interrogate the data depending on what your use case is. And I'll stop there. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention. Back to you, Almut.
Thank you, Mukami. I actually really like your products. I would like to ask Jacqueline now to play a live demo of how the integration works. But that was basically a live demo of how the integrations between the two applications work and how their data is being exchanged. Now, Theo, I see you're there. Would you mind unmuting yourself and then explain us a little bit more about who you are and your experience with both applications?
Good morning, everyone. I'm not going to be long. Basically, I am talking about the relationship between AgroCares and eProd and Vida Veda Limited. Vida Veda Limited, we are the lending partners of AgroCares in Uganda. What this means is that we represent the technology in this territory, and we support everybody who is using the technology in this area. So we've had a very interesting experience working with eProd on the integration together with AgroCares, and participated in the pilot, which was really exciting to see. What we learned out of that is that we are able to link up to farmer groups in a much easier way. As long as they have been profiled already by eProd, the information sharing is seamless. We get a lot more efficient profile information, which is linked to mapping. So the advice that the farmers are able to get from the system, from their agronomists, and from anybody else who is interested in supporting what they are doing is able to do. So the farmer experience is also quite seamless and easy. Thirdly, you can also get to share results in a much easier way, and it's all consolidated in one place. And for us as VVL, will be available to actually support them with explanation of the recommendations and supporting them to make sure that they actually benefit fully from the results that they've received. We saw that the impact was quite immense, such that after this pilot, a lot more farmers who had refused to participate are actually bugging us and saying, hey, when can we also participate? So I think there's actually a low-hanging fruit that we will need to actually take advantage of. The impact of the results is quite outstanding, because all the guys who got the results and we got to advise them what they needed to do, they did. And there's been a major improvement on their crops, especially on their plants of avocado. But of course, this is not limited to avocado use only, but any plants, any crops that we're using. So yeah, what I can say is with that experience, there are a lot more people that can actually benefit out of this. That is every user of a scanner, whether they're using it for themselves or users of scanners who are testing soils on behalf of other people. And we also have another opportunity where we can actually develop this as a business for youths to use the scanner as a business, doing soil testing, providing soil testing services throughout the country. There is still quite a limited amount of service right now. However, it is the only limitation is orientation of farmers and awareness of farmers that look, actually a soil test is like the CV of a person that you want to employ. If you want to employ someone, you've got to know what they're capable of. So the soil test gives us the potential for the soil ETC. One of the most interesting thing is all the farmers, they always look at soil testing services as a very expensive thing, but one thing which is important is the ability to prove to them that there's a huge return on investment on a soil test. And now when you link this to the technology that eProd is providing, it brings in a whole much more dynamic and also a much more broad spectrum to the entire thing. So if you look at my screen, I just put together a few things which sort of like show how this whole process can actually work to a farmer's advantage. We also have to take through the farmers, unfortunately, through the basics of a periodic table of elements. What does it mean? How does it work? And then we share with them the different pictorials and what it means when you've got nitrogen or phosphorus deficiency, potassium deficiency, and magnesium deficiency, EDC, and the impact that it has all on the yield and the calcium, what it usually looks like. And when we teach these farmers this thing, eventually, by the time they come asking for a soil test, some of them will say, I've been seeing some symptoms of 1, 2, 3. Do you agree? Can we take a test? And what's interesting is most of the time it confirms the pictures of what they've seen in their fields confirms the results that come out. So which also shows the integrity of the results that we get out of the soil scanner, which was the second challenge which we had, where people are so used to the wet chemistry that they thought this scanner was a scam. However, we've had situations of bogus people who have gone around lying to people that they're actually scanning their soils because they saw us doing it. They also created their own fake scanner. It's remote, but it has happened. So we've had to find ways of identifying our people in a much better way. But what this integration with eProd does is that it brings more integrity to the system, whereby it's when people see someone who says they are assisting them with soil testing, then they will have a much more or a better way of identifying themselves, especially with a much more robust system, which eProd so AgroCares system provides. So what we see is that the nutrient requirements in Uganda are really down, contrary to the common belief that soils in Uganda are very fertile. So this service is essential at this moment, and as a lending partner, our job is to make sure that we actually make soil testing services practical, customizable, and also farmers can apply what is really required by their crop and what the soils demand for better yields. The other details I think Mukami dwelt on, so that we understand the leaf cares, feed cares, benefits, etc. Such that we're actually developing very easy solutions for the farmers who are specified, like for the coffee. We know the crop nutrient requirements. Only we need now is the soil nutrient requirement, so that we can balance what is required. And the link to the eProd system is building a huge database, which we believe we'll be able to use much further in our relationship with the relevant farmers. Now, when it comes to the soil testing and sampling process itself, I think Mukami dwelt on it. I will not dwell on it, but it's part of what we make sure the farmers get to do properly, so that the results are useful for them. And our results, they come into the eProd system the same way, and it's easy even for the illiterate farmers. There's pictorials, there's also graphs, and it's easy for the farmer to interpret, and in the end get good results. For the person who is going to use the scanner, we also make sure that their maintenance and care of the scanner is upbeat, such that their scanners don't give them trouble. So actually, if I were to quote that, in 2024 alone, we only had 2 assists that we had to do to scanner users, where it was small things where they needed support. It was not the scanner which was giving problems, but it was just a human error on how to do things. So far, since we started being a lending partner, we've not had any problems with the technology. So we're actually quite confident that we can promote it in this way. And it's exciting to see that we are now starting to get more linkages to other technology users, such that we leverage on the diversity and also leverage on the collaboration that we're getting. Otherwise, as a lending partner, we appreciate AgroCares and eProd for involving us specifically. It benefited us a lot and our team, and we look forward to more participation in such research and such developmental work. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. That was a very nice presentation. Now, coming over to the end of our presentation or our webinar. Before that, we have a few comments in the chat box. Let me go through them briefly. So Herman had a question in more detail. The soil scan provides a measured data of macro elements and how reliable the field measurements are according to the lab analysis in LIA. Mukami, do you want to answer that? Anna Mukami, who of you would be happy to take the question?
Yeah, so the question from, what's the name? Zirat, if I'm that question. Yeah, specifically. So yeah, so we are confirming with our R&D, but so far out of top of my head is no, there's been no comparison study between the leaf care part of AgroCares and any plant sap analysis. we've not yet done that comparison study, but I'll confirm with Mukami is confirming actually now with the R&D team, and then she can respond to him. So maybe Zirat, you can actually leave a comment. Sorry, not a comment, like an email address that we can reach you on. That will be helpful.
But the question, you just skipped one question. Herman had actually asked in what detail the source can provide the measured data of the macro elements and how reliable the field measurements are according to lab analysis. And
how deep are the sorry, is the question posted here?
Yes, Herman, that was the first question. The question before the one from Sierra. In what detail does the soil scan?
Yeah,
I can't see.
and let me just take this. Let me take this. So
Yeah, okay.
I answered already, and I said that we can share with him. I think he needs also to see when he's asking, he needs to see the parameters and also what he's calling depth. So we can share with him the comparison or accuracy documents so that he can be able to see the different comparison studies we've done between the different measuring techniques. So the scanner with wetcam, the scanner with lab in a box. So we'll be able to share that. There's a document we can share with him, and also share with him. If he could kindly leave us his email address, we can also share with him the details on how a sample report looks like, both from the lab in a box as well as the scanner. So yes, the information is available. We can share with him.
Thank you. So Sirat already shared his contact details. Thank you for that. And then Salihu actually mentioned that he's working already on the AgroCares scanners, mainly on the soil carbon data. That's excellent. Happy to hear that. Does anybody else have a question for us that you still want to clarify? If not, if you would like to reach out directly to us, I also left my contact details in the chat box, and I think was Mukami and they left the contact details, so you can contact us also through email or telephone number. But if you have any burning questions, anything else that you would like to hear and know right now from us, feel free to let us know. Raise your hands or here you have something else. Please share.
Yeah, Amit is there. I didn't have the chance to write in there, but we've been approached by the Grain Council of Uganda. They heard about what we did with AAU, and they are like, can eProd consider doing the same for the grain industry? There are quite a few associations and aggregators who have many farmers whom they are also trying to improve their performance in terms of yields and information management, etc. So I think it's something that's going to be worth discussing. We are actually on the way to discuss with you that, to see the possibility of us doing that, and see how best we can actually do that. I'll probably get the numbers by next week as to how many we are looking at possibilities, and then from there we can see whether it's practical. But I think I see an opening into different enterprises or value chains, because from here the coffee farmers are waiting and etc. So I think this was a good initiative. Thanks.
Excellent. So yeah, you know where to find me. Just reach out to me. We can schedule a joint call with them and then explain them how it works and how we can implement it. Excellent. Great. So then, if there are no other questions, I ask my colleague Jacqueline again to share another movie with us. This time with sound. I thank you all for your attendance, for your interest, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Oh, Salifu, you have another question. Please unmute and share your question.
Good morning.
Morning.
But I speak English small, but I can speak French.
Yes, you can try. I'll try to understand.
Thank you. Moi, je suis nomade Moussalifou. Je suis enseignant-chercheur à l'Université du Niger ici à Niamey. Je vois parmi les participants, il y a Anne Mouraya. Donc, dernièrement, elle nous a accompagnés dans une étude de AgroCares. Donc, actuellement, on est en train de travailler également sur ce scanner AgroCares. Donc, la semaine dernière, on a fait une mission de terrain. Donc, on a scanné les échantillons, environ une centaine d'échantillons. Donc, actuellement, nous avons les échantillons au laboratoire. Et l'étude qui nous a été confiée, c'est vraiment de vérifier l'efficacité de ces scanners dans le contexte sahélien. Parce que actuellement, dans le Sahel, dans les pays sahéliens, ces scanners n'ont pas été beaucoup plus vulgarisés. Donc, l'étude, c'est de vraiment voir dans quel cadre ces scanners, on peut évaluer son efficacité dans le contexte sahélien. Donc, je pense que les résultats de notre étude vont contribuer à améliorer la base de données de AgroCare, notamment dans le contexte sahélien. Donc, on a déjà scanné tous les échantillons sur le terrain. Donc, on a les données fournies par le scanner. Maintenant, on a également les échantillons qui sont introduits au laboratoire. On attend que le laboratoire qu'il finisse d'analyser. Donc là, on va avoir les deux résultats et ça nous permettra de comparer quelle est l'efficacité de cet appareil. Autre chose que je tiens à dire aussi, avant d'aller, les points d'échantillonnage ont été déjà prédéfinis sur la plateforme de l'application. Et nous, on s'est dit sur quelle base la plateforme, le système s'est basé. Bon, on avait une réunion avec Anne et une équipe de Winrock. Ils nous ont confirmé que c'est des algorithmes que l'appareil utilise pour déterminer les points d'échantillonnage. Ce que je tiens à vous dire que nous, étant sur le terrain, on s'est rendu compte que vraiment les points d'échantillonnage sont représentatifs. Et ça nous a posé énormément de questions sur l'efficacité de l'algorithme. En tant que spécialiste des sols, donc les différentes unités d'occupation des sols sont représentées. Donc, et on a vu les différentes croûtes et même au niveau des aménagements, les différents comportements des aménagements. Parce qu'on a fait l'étude dans une zone qui est à partie pastorale et en partie agricole. Et on s'est rendu compte que toutes les parties sont représentées dans l'application. Donc, vraiment, je tiens à vous dire qu'en ce qui concerne la répartition, on a été vraiment satisfait de la répartition des points et de la représentativité des points. Merci.
Thank you very much, Sadifu. It was a lot of information. I think Mukami probably understood a bit more than me. Let's take this conversation also into a separate channel and then I'll continue from there because I have understood something, but not everything. That was a lot. Thank you very much for all this feedback. I would like to thank you for your attendance and I look forward to get in touch with you sooner or later. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. And my colleague is going to now share another movie that gives another angle of the integration between eProd and AgroCares. Have a wonderful day. Bye.